Rejecting an offer was never something I thought I would have had to do. Everybody wants to apply for a job and get a job. Nobody talks about getting offers and rejecting it. My parents would just get a good job, get the offer, start the job. So when I had to actually consider an offer in the sense of am I going to accept this offer or reject this offer, it felt like a new territory. It was really enlightening in the sense that you could get the job offer and then it might not feel perfect for you at that point in time. Now in this video, I'm going to talk about things I considered that made me actually come to the decision of rejecting this job offer. A very important disclaimer: this is strictly my opinion. This was me considering things at that point in time with what I knew at that point in time. Let's get right into it. Early November, I actually got a job offer and I did an interview, and at the end of the day, or at the end of that day, they actually reached out to me and offered me the job. Now there are a couple of reasons I actually wait to see whether I was going to accept the offer or reject the offer. As at the point when they called me, yeah, I accepted the offer because obviously, yes, I wanted the job. I didn't have any job. Like, that was my very first job offer. I had no job prospect at that point in time. It wasn't like I had another offer. So that was the only offer. That was the first and only offer I had at that point in time. So I said yes, I was going to accept it. So really, I was really excited. I went back home, start searching about the locations, doing my research. And that was when I started realizing that, am I gonna take this job? So for context, this job was an NHS role. It was a band 5 microbiology biomedical scientist. It was a band 6 job. It was a band 6 microbiology role, but because I don't have the specialist portfolio, it was going to be given to me as a band 5 pending when I got the specialist portfolio. Now this job did not offer sponsorship. Like, there was no sponsorship, though the trust could sponsor. But that was like one of the first questions they asked me during the interview, and I was like, oh, I'm eligible for a 2-year post-study visa. And they're like, oh, but obviously after the 2 years, I want to know what happens. Like, is there like option, or like, is there a chance for me to get sponsored? And then they were like, oh, at the moment, no, there's no chance for sponsorship. This brings me to my very first option, which I considered in whether I needed to accept or reject the offer. And the very first thing was finance. So the fact that there was no sponsorship meant that I was going to have to pay for my post-study work permit. And it was like £2,030. That was the amount for my post-study work permit, and meaning I had to do that before the end of January. My mind was already working towards saving for my post-study. But then now, if I'm going to be relocating from Manchester to another place entirely, I couldn't stay with somebody till I get on my feet because there was nobody I knew in that environment, meaning that I had to get an accommodation. I started searching for accommodation then, and I realized that the apartments in those places, now because I'm no longer a student, it meant I was going to pay bills. I was going to pay student council tax, and the council tax in that area was like way higher than even what Manchester currently has because of some different reasons that they stated. But basically, it meant that by the time I calculated everything I need, and obviously since I'm going to new days, I was going to have to deal with deposits, bills. Because most places they were not apartment, they were bills inclusive. Council tax, it just felt like a lot, and I knew, plus deposits, and even if I was to get my complete deposit from where I'm currently staying, I knew it wasn't going to be enough to serve as a deposit in my new place, meaning I'll still need an additional rent plus deposit. Plus obviously when you get a new house, you're going to need a couple of things. If I'm moving from Manchester, there are a couple of things I cannot carry with me because it's like it's a long distance, and I'm also going to have to get like all those moving vehicles that will actually move my stuff from Manchester to the place, which I already checked up how much was cost of moving vehicle. And guys, by the time I calculated everything I was going to need, plus my post-study work permit, plus how much accommodation was served, and obviously I knew I wasn't going to get paid until like after 1 month, so I also needed 1 month worth of I needed money to sustain me for at least 1 month after clearing out all the bills. And trust me guys, it was amounting to almost £5,000, if no more, and I knew I couldn't afford it, and I at no point in time wanted to start. I didn't want to have to borrow from anyone to start that kind of job. Now It was now borrowing, not like borrowing is an issue technically. I could borrow if it was like it was a kind of amount I was going to borrow and I was going to even pay back or my after my first or second or third salary, yes. But then remember, even after I get my first salary, I still have rent monthly to pay, I have bills to pay, I have things to pay. So technically I will be offsetting, most likely for the first 6 months I will not have been able to actually pay, save up anything. I'll literally be paying off debt, if not more. So technically I looked at it financially and I saw that it wasn't going to be the wisest decision. If they were sponsoring me, that would have cut out my post study, the money for post study, and then I could channel all my resources into trying to relocate. But then trying to do the post study, the relocation money for sustenance was not feasible at all. And like I said, I didn't have anybody like within 1 hour commute area of where my place was. Like I didn't know nobody. So it was literally, it literally wasn't going to work financially for me. So I was like, okay, we definitely know finance will not work. What's the other thing I could think of? The second thing I considered was basically like stability. Now I didn't want to, I was going to have to do, like I said, I was going to have to take a lot of money, which is like over £5,000 to kind of move to a new job, start a new life. And basically as I'm trying to settle in, understanding now that this job, there's a high possibility that this job might not sponsor me. That first year of my job, I am literally working, I'm literally spending money, and then I'm trying to look for a new job that can sponsor me. As much as obviously yes, I was getting the experience, I just felt it was an imbalance. It was not, and like getting lab experience at the expense of a lot of things was not going to work out for me. Stability was, if it was that they were sponsoring, I knew that, oh, for the next 3 years I'm not trying to look for another job, I'm just trying to save, trying to get myself stable, trying to get new friends, but starting a job in a place I knew that, oh, there's no hope for me, or it looks as if there's no hope for me. Technically I might start the job and obviously I might get sponsorship down the line, but then there was also the fact that they had cleared me right from the beginning, saying that they could not provide sponsorship. So technically I might have also started the job and I would have been open for sponsorship and I will still not be able to get sponsorship, so I will still have to look for a new job. So in terms of stability, it didn't look so stable to me. It didn't look like a long-term stable plan. Worst case scenario, I wouldn't have been able to work there up to 2 years, because literally the post-study work permits duration is just 2 years, meaning that before the end of that 2 years I need to have found somebody who's going to sponsor me. Then after pouring out my entirety financially into that kind of place, just knowing that I'm going to have to move again, so when another opportunity comes and then I have to relocate again, then I have to look for another money to actually start relocating. It just didn't make sense to me. So another thing that I considered also was community. Now here in Manchester, I've been so blessed with community, my church community, friends, family. The community I've gotten here has been like family, and trust me, sometimes getting the right community is sometimes not the easiest, and this is something I cherish or really appreciate about Manchester. Doesn't mean I'm not open to relocating, no. Well, obviously I would love to relocate to a place where I can also be able to, like, I can also be able to build community, and that's one thing I also wanted. I looked at it and I looked at the fact that where I'm going to be staying, it would not have been so easy for me to be able to go to church. Like the closest branch of my church would have been a lot in the sense of commute time, and also a lot in the sense of finances. And if I'd made that move with the point I would be at financially, I probably would not be going to church every Sunday. I might not have that financial, what's the word, I might not have money to be able to go to church every Sunday. And community, like I said, is one important for me. I don't think I didn't want to have to live a life. Trust me, 9 to 5 or working can be so much of a routine that it feels like everything about your life is working. And I knew that was going to be possible, and I didn't want to feel that Monday to Friday I'm working, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday I just stay indoors and then there's nothing to do. Not like that, I don't do that sometimes, but then the place of people just saying, oh guys, we're hanging out, do you want to come? Like, even if it's once in a month, trust me, sometimes it helps a lot. And being able to just say, oh, how far are you at home, can I come and greet you or something, like just knowing that you have people around, that if worst comes to worst, you have people around that you can go to, is really important. And I wasn't sure, like, if I'm going to have to sacrifice community. I wanted to know, like I said, I wanted to know that I had something better. Like, obviously, it was more like I'm weighing my options. Which one weighs better? I'm not looking for a perfect place that has all my boxes ticked. But I wanted a place that at least had the important boxes ticked, or at least when I weighed my pros against my cons, the pros were more. So that was one thing. Like I said, community was not looking. I didn't even know anybody there. I was like searching and asking there. I had nobody there. So obviously it was going to be a case of, it was when I get there that I'm going to actually start finding people from maybe work. And anyway, like I said, community was something I considered, and it didn't look promising also. Now savings, as one thing I really wanted is I wanted to be able to have a job that I can save. Now it's very easy with the way life is. Emergency comes, and then even it's like each time you're earning money, you're just earning money to sustain yourself, pay bills, and technically it can be a rat race. And I think everybody knows that. I know how much of a rat race working can be, especially when you're working and not able to save money. You're just working, then as the salary is coming, 10 minutes, everything has dispensed. You can't even say after 1 year that this is what I have to show for it. And I think technically I don't want to ever be in that space. As much I want to be able to I want to be able to save money. Because in the long run I have plenty plans for myself. So I don't want to ever be working and not have enough savings. This is a point that is really, really important for me. I don't want to ever be working and doing the old rat race. If I'm doing the old rat race, let me be able to save something aside. Let me be able to know, okay, I'm working towards a goal. After a certain point, I can be able to, okay, if I'm doing a kind of another business, I can be able to invest my money. I can be able to do a lot of things basically. So like I said, saving is something that's really important to me. Or I've told myself, I don't want to work a job where I cannot save out of my salary monthly. Yeah, obviously there are times, obviously emergency will come, like I said, or you have to give somebody something, or you have to splurge on yourself. That's okay. But technically, after paying my essential bills, I want to be able to actually allocate a particular amount of money to saving. And I really wanted that for a job, and it wasn't looking like that. At least for the first 1 year, I will most likely not be able to save so much on that job. It will be like barely minimum. And really, I had saving goals, and the job didn't look like it was going to be able to fulfill that for me. So this is like one of the things that those are one of like the things I considered. I just said, you know what, I prayed about it. I'd spoken to a couple of people, and then I was like, you know what, there was only one reason that would have made me like accept the job offer, and that would have been fear that I wouldn't get any other job offer like anytime soon. That would have been the only reason why I would have accepted that job offer. And at the point I just had to say, whatever the case may be, whatever the consequence might be, at this point in time, this is the best decision I could have made with the knowledge I knew at that point in time. Those are the reasons why I actually rejected the very first job offer I got. And I think one thing it just taught me is that sometimes, even if an offer comes to you, doesn't mean you have to accept it. Technically, like I said, I don't regret it. I feel like whoever is a perfect candidate for that job offer, who have gotten it. Whenever I think about it, I was like, I don't think I lost at any point in time. If they were sponsoring me, that would have been a different story. I would have not blinked, because sponsorship, I think they would have given me like a 3-year sponsorship or anything. But at least that would have been a different case scenario, basically, if I was getting sponsored. But then I wasn't getting sponsored. And I do think everything worked together for the good of those that love the Lord. Please, that's that for today's video. I hope this video wasn't long. If you watched this to the end, thank you so much. If there are any other videos you would like to see from me, please do feel free to put them in the comment section down below. If there are questions you want to ask, please drop them in the comment or chat box basically. I will try to answer to the best of my abilities. Thank you so much. We are almost at 1K subscribers. I think we're 930 or something, so like 70 more people. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Share with your friends until I come your way again in another video. Bye bye.